How you doing on this Memorial Day weekend? We're trying to get the beans in. We got the corn in yesterday just before the rain came, and it rained pretty good. And that's a part you have to really be mature, and you have to work with nature. Today, you can see by my hair blowing around. Remember the day we couldn't spray? It's been 2 weeks ago today. Today, the wind is a blessing. Some days it can be your adversary, some days it can be your, partner. It's called working with Mother Nature, not against it. Had I a force trying to get those beans in there yesterday, the soil bed preparation was not how I wanted it. There was too much moisture, it was compacting. If you would have rushed that, yeah, you would have got germination, but you would have probably got a minus in germination because you rushed it. Too many people today are locked in on time scheduling, and if you're going to be a food plotter, if you're going to work the dirt, you have to work it on Mother Nature's schedule. If you work against it, you're going to end up on the short end of the stick. I want to pan across here and show you. If you remember 2 weeks ago when we were spraying that, well, we've got it sprayed, we got it planted. This is in corn. Now we're going to go plant the beans. Now I want to show you the wind. You notice the wind's blowing that tree pretty good up here. And that today, that's a plus. If we were spraying, it wouldn't have been the best conditions. So it's time to get this tillage work done over here to where we can break this clods up smaller. Like I said, when you see the back side, the white side of the leaves, you know it's pretty windy out. And you can probably hear it in the camera. But today, that's a good wind. That's why I'm here. When I was working this seed bed up yesterday, the moisture content was really high and it was packing down. Today, it's in good shape. I should be able to run the pulverizer over it today and get this seed bed more uniform, and then I can get the seed broadcasted on it. But you can see the sides of the clods and the roughness of it. Now, if I was planting it in the ground with the planter, it would be a common depth. But being you're going to broadcast your beans on top of here, you want to get this as uniformly as you can so you don't have some beans getting buried too deep, which will hinder their germination. And like I said, this dirt is so much drier now. I can kick it. Yesterday it was packing up on the tires, and I can see the moisture right here. You don't have to go too far. You see that black right there? There's your moisture. So we'll get to pulverizing it and getting this more uniform. Is it needed? In some people's book, no. But in the non-typical Norwalkian's book, that's the way I'm going to do it, because that's how I get my best results. Now you can really hear that wind coming in here. That's a good thing today. So let's get the tractor fired up, see if we can't bring this seed bed on to a more uniform consistency. Here's what I'm talking about, and I've showed you this before. I don't really want, that's as big as my fist. I don't want that kind of seed bed preparation. This was turning up a little wet. You got these big chunks like this. I want to see if the pulverizer will. I don't want a big chunk like that. Like I said, 99% of food plot failure is due to field preparation. And I see every gimmick and every lazy man shortcut known to mankind how not to prepare your field right. I guess, I don't know what to, I guess there's one word for it. Laziness. And like they say, lazy man, poor man, stupid man. But you gotta have your seed bed prepared to do these food plots and to get the most out of the seed. I don't care what seed you buy, how much money you spend on it, what so-called celebrities on the package. If you, I don't care what celebrity or what endorsement or whatever, it all comes down to seed bed preparation. The sloppier you are on that, you're gonna see it in the loss of tonnage. Now here's what I was trying to get across. You see this seed bed on this side where the pulverizers ran over it? It's unified. The clods are all basically the same. And just over here, you can see how rough and ununiform the dirt clods are. And when that melts down, that's going to melt down. If you have a seed here, and you have this dirt clod melting down on it, you're going to have just that much more dirt, so you're not going to get, it's not going to germinate the same. Try to get your seed beds prepared as well as you can. I will accept this. Like I said, I can go in here and it's a uniform base and the seed's going to be on top. I got the fertilizer incorporated into it. It's going to work just fine. Now over here is another example. I don't know if you can see these ridges, but these ridges were formed with the disc harrow, and you're better off to get them out. There's a difference in probably 6 to 8 inches right there with that ridge. Spend the time preparing your soils right. You'll be far better off, and your food plots will show. Like right here, here's a big ridge. Now if I broadcasted the seeds on that, that's not going to settle out the same. So anyhow, that's how I go about it. How you go about it is your business, and you can probably line them up 10 deep on how they go about it. But on my channel, that's how I do it. I try to do it the best I know how with the equipment I got, and then pray for timely rains. Now, you talk about the luck of the draw. It had 0% chance of rain down here in Clark County today. And I got this one ominous black cloud. I got raindrops spitting on my back. And that cloud looks like it goes all the way down there. Fortunately, as I scan around here, blue sky there. So maybe with this northwest wind, it'll blow that stuff out of here. The things you gotta go through to plant food plots, I'll tell you what. It was perfectly blue skies when I came down here 2 hours ago. Like I said, you really have to, you'll find a lot out about yourself when you're trying to make food plots, of what your temperament is, and because you have no control over what's going on up there in that sky. Hopefully it'll just blow over. Maybe once this pop-up thunderstorm gets out of here. It ain't on the field yet, but like I said, it could very well been. Well, live and learn. Well, today, finally we're going to get the beans planted this Memorial Day morning. And we're going to try to get some of these beans in the ground. Now, as you've seen in the past, how I go about that is I broadcast these beans on. The reason I broadcast them on is because I got some unorthodox areas. Some are straight and some are crooked, and you'd have to back the planter around. Plus, I'm just trying to demonstrate, not only demonstrate, to show some of you guys you can plant beans without a planter just by broadcasting them on. So, you need to use a little more beans. You need to use about a third more if you're going to broadcast them on than what you'd do in a normal planting operation. But they grow, they've grown in the past, and they'll grow in the future. These beans aren't inoculated because I've had them in beans, they said, long enough to where I don't need the nitrogen fixation. If you was bringing it out of CRP or just ground that hadn't been planted for years, you'd want to have inoculated beans. That way it would get the nitrogen fixed to the bean that much faster. But they say if you've had it in beans and row crop before in the last few years, then you don't need the inoculation on the beans, because all it does is help draw the nitrogen to the bean that much faster. So let's get these dumped in. Like I say, it's Memorial Day morning, and we'll get them on the field. Yeah, I always like to go over some things that, you know, opening these bags, you can use a knife. Sometimes I get in a hurry and it's easier to use the knife. But all you have to do is pull this little narrow strip, and you can see that string comes out, and your bag is opened up. So it's pretty easy. But I tell you what, sometimes it can be frustrating to get that string to go. So the knife never failed me. Let's get them in there. As you can see, we got the field in prime condition. Nice loose dirt. Pretty uniform residue and clods on the field. Don't have a lot of, there's no big clods, and like I said, proper field preparation goes a long way for food plotters, especially if you're going to do it small food plots. You want to get maximum amount of results. But I know there's several arguments one way or the other, but I'll stick with my way, the non-typical Norwalkian way. Lived my whole life that way. I'll get to the finish line. This is an alternative way of planting beans for people that don't have a planter. You can plant beans. Don't ask me the seed count per acre, per square foot. You're going to lose some. Birds might pick up some. We're going to incorporate these beans, and then when we spray them, we'll run over some. But as you've seen in the past, it creates quite a bean field. So I'm just trying to show you an alternative way of doing it without a planter. Well, as you people that have followed my channel for any longevity, for what that's worth, you know my main purpose of doing these food plots is to give back. The enjoyment of seeing the new seed that you put in the soil germinate and mature. The green fields that you create late in July and in August. That's what I do this for. I do it for the whole scope of wildlife. Like I say, from the honeybees to the turkeys, you name it. Anything that traverses on this property is being nurtured along throughout the year. I'm not in the fictitious names as deer assassins, deer freaks, on and on and on. The list goes on and on and on. Now we're going to set the seed, and what I mean by that is you look here, you can see the seed on top of the ground. Now the beans can be buried, and I advocate that you do bury them. Now as I run the pulverizer over, you can see they've been scuffed up, they got dirt on top of them, and that's what you want. The light covering of dirt. If you get a little heavier covering, that's not bad either. Now you can do that with a homemade drag or whatever, or a harrow. But you can see how much seed's here. I don't want that just laying like that. You could colipact it in also, but I elected to throw a little dirt over the top of it, and that hides it from the bird life too. So I don't want them to, you know, even though I'm trying to grow things, I want the seed to grow first. But anyhow, to all you people that are out there planting food plots, stay the course, and you're gonna have good times and bad times. But that's just the way it is. So, happy Memorial Day from the non-typical Norwalkian, and I'm going to set this seed and be done with this, and we'll sit back and watch it grow together.